Hi there, my name is Nate Kokernot, and welcome again to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the sixth Hermetic principle, which is cause and effect. Here's the quick rundown. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for a law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. It goes on to talk about how the masters, those who have come to understand the Hermetic principles, can rise to the plane above and dominate their own moods, their characters, their qualities and powers, as well as the environment surrounding them, and become movers instead of pawns. So I'm going to be flipping back and forth a little bit from A Course in Miracles to the Hermetic principles via the Kabbalion. I think about today's lesson 27, since it's January 27th, as above all else I want to see, and the practice is to say those words to yourself every half an hour at the very least. Those are a thought. That is a thought with God, a true thought, that you are essentially welcoming the opportunity to become a master, because the laws of God, they are the above laws. They're the divine laws of creation. If we were to think about astrology, the hidden variables that cause the planets to circle around as they do in our perception, as well as all of the phenomenological experiences that we have in the world, none of them are accidents. There are these hidden variables, this divine wisdom that is coming from God, from creation, that is in charge of all of it. I'm going to read a passage from the Course here. Place cause and effect in their true sequence in one respect, and the learning will generalize and transform the world. The transfer value of one true idea has no end or limit. The final outcome of this lesson is the remembrance of God. What do guilt and sickness, pain, disaster, and all suffering mean now? Having no purpose, they are gone, and with them also go all the effects they seemed to cause. Cause and effect but replicate creation, seen in their proper perspective, without distortion and without fear, they re-establish heaven. So one true idea is a thought with God. In A Course in Miracles, we're taught over and over again that we have only one problem, and that problem is that we thought that we separated from God, from creation, from everything. Every other problem that we could point at, and the ego can point at many, many problems. Just look at one situation in your life, and the ego could probably come up with a dozen problems in less than a minute about it. But those are all thoughts that are basically making you sort of like a pawn on the chessboard. You're not stepping into the power that God gave you, that God gave me, to manifest love, peace, joy. Once we understand that these laws of God basically stand above all of the other little laws that we busy ourselves with, those perishable laws, once we understand this, then we become masters of our own destiny. Two different kinds of laws that we all seem pretty preoccupied with. There's the Newtonian laws of physics, and yes, quantum physics has come along and actually just kind of muddied the waters, because there's so many different interpretations of it. Nobody really knows what's true in quantum physics anymore. I would say it's true that it is kind of the quantum mechanics are basically the mechanics of perception, because what they're really describing is like the algorithm for our own little individual personal reality or a virtual reality headset. But those laws are perishable. Then we've got our government laws. We could look at the Constitution, and if you've been paying attention to the news lately, I think you might agree that those laws are perishable too. They don't have to be followed. Clearly, they're not being followed. God's laws, the law of cause and effect, for instance, it has to be followed. There is no out for this. There is the ability to be unaware of those laws, but there is no ability to break those laws. Even though we think every act we perform has its direct and indirect results which fit into the great chain of cause and effect, we can't see the entirety of the complex web of cause and effect, but that doesn't say anything about it being a law. It says something about our limited understanding. So the Hermetic teachings are that man may use law to overcome these lesser laws, and that the higher will always prevail against the lower, until at last he has reached the stage in which he seeks refuge in the law itself, and laughs the phenomenal laws to scorn. Let's go back to the first principle mentality, that the cause of everything we see is in our minds, and it really is via the thoughts that we think, the judgments that we perceive with. This is good, this is bad, that person's not acting appropriately, that person's not acting according to etiquette. As long as we're in that state of mind, we are going to see things according to that state of mind, so that we can prove to ourselves that we're right. But what are we right about? Do we want to be right about that? As above, so below. Above all else, I want to think the thoughts with God. I want to see truly what's there. The only thing that's really there is love and connection. We just walked away from it over time, but we can walk back into it. What you do not understand is that two voices speak for different interpretations of the same thing simultaneously, or almost simultaneously. For the ego always speaks first. Alternate interpretations are unnecessary until the first one has been made, and speaking itself was unnecessary before the ego was made. The ego speaks in judgment, and the Holy Spirit reverses its decisions, much as a Supreme Court has the power to reverse a lower court's decision about the laws of this world. So yeah, other meanings of this lesson or this principle are that there are no accidents, nothing happens by coincidence. There is a divine order to things, and our one responsibility is really to ourselves to awaken to the truth of love, of creation, of life, of God. That despite appearances, and there are many appearances right now to the contrary, if we choose to give them our attention, and I have been myself, which tends to put me in a lower sort of vibrational state of mind. But today I've just made a commitment to saying, above all else, I want to see. Above all else, I want to see. And what I want to see is the truth about us. The truth that we are one mind created by God and given the powers that God has to create like Him. And so we have the power to see past all of the conflict and strife that we have projected out onto the screen in front of us and come back to knowing what's true. All right. Have a great day. I hope that you're enjoying these lessons and that you'll like and subscribe if you do. And I hope you all have a wonderful day full of blessings and miracles. Bye for now.